Now it's time for Inspirational Women, and we meet up with Hanna Safley once again. Last week, Hanna shared about a cancer diagnosis when she was just 13. In these 8 years since that time, she has lived more life than many of us, with more years of life than she. The story goes on, and we hear from Hanna as she needs to decide on stem cell treatment that is very time-sensitive. Here's Hanna sharing more of her story.
I want to start treatment right away because I knew that putting it off could do more harm than good. But yeah, so I started chemo. I did that round of chemo with brand new chemotherapy from the FDA, and I spent about 6 weeks inpatient. And then I was going to have like 2 weeks off between my rounds of chemo. And this just adds to the life of Hanna. But in those 2 weeks, I got appendicitis and had to get my appendix taken out, which was just a nice little bump in the road, but it was kind of nice because I got to have the surgery at Marybridge because this is around the time that Seattle Children's was having issues with their ORs or their operating rooms. And so I got to go back to Marybridge. I saw my original doctor, Dr. Irwin, and because when I was diagnosed, he was gone for leave of absence. And so he was back. I got to talk to him, and, you know, he was like my main guy for 5-6 years. We had a really strong bond. And when I wasn't re-diagnosed, like when he wasn't the one to re-diagnose me, I had felt lost because he was always the one to like comfort me. He gave me great advice. And so finally being able to see him again with my worries, with wondering what my most recent bone marrow biopsy was going to look like it could either show that the chemotherapy did its work or it could show that my leukemia is resistant, which is not what we want. But just being there with him, it was horrible getting my appendix taken out. It was actually one of the worst pains I've ever had. But being there with him made it completely worth it. And I'm actually kind of thankful for that appendix trip because I got to see him before going into my next round of chemo, which really boosted my confidence. But I got my bone marrow results back later after that, and the chemo did do its job. It brought the cancer down below 1%, which was great, but obviously there was still cancer left. And so we did the next round of chemo, which was another 8 weeks with very high dose of a certain chemo that my body does not react to well. And so I was in ICU for like a week during that time with crazy high fevers and ice packs all over my body. But again, I made it through those 6 weeks. I did it. And also during that time, they were testing my blood and like trying to find a match in the bone marrow registry system because we had already found out that my little sister wasn't a match. We were trying to find one. And so then we had, after that round of chemo, we had a biopsy. And sure enough, the chemo did its job once again. My cancer was brought down to 0.07%. So still there was leukemia left, which was not ideal, but it was less than 1%, less than the 5% they require. And so I was going to go on to my transplant. And so I was having my transplant meeting, another roundtable meeting, but much happier, I would say. But they told me that I did not have a single match in the bone marrow system, which, again, another rarity of Hanna, in the life of Hanna. Mm-hmm. It's not common, especially I'm Caucasian, I'm white, and minorities have a much harder chance of finding a match because it has all to do with like DNA and stuff. Unfortunately, but for a white person, there's much a higher chance. So I did not have any matches, but they said they were actually okay with that because they were actually never going to use a unrelated donor or a bone marrow donor or my sister because they have higher chances of relapse, not much higher chances of relapse than a cord blood transplant, which if you don't know what that is, they take the cells from an infant's umbilical cord and they use that as a transplant instead.
Wow.
And so, yeah, that's what they decided to do. They're going to do a double cord blood transplant because I was older and they needed more cells. But cord blood transplants had shown great outcomes, especially with patients who went into their transplant with cancer. And it would create this thing called the graft versus leukemia effect, where my Hanna graft would fight the new baby cells graft, and would in turn fight the cancer that was left inside of me. And so on September 6th, 2019, I had my double cord blood bone marrow transplant. And that was the day that I like to think that was the day that I don't want to say cured yet, because I don't, superstitions, I don't like to say that one until like 5 years. But that was the day that I became cancer free.
And the term that came to mind was, maybe that was another birthday.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. They actually do call it your rebirthday.
Ah.
So in bone marrow transplant terms, I'm only 2.5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Or 3 years. Yeah, 2.5 years.
Yeah, right. It'll be 3 years this September. So,
yeah.
oh my, Hanna, this journey for someone who's just 21 years old is many lifetimes long, is what it seems like.
Oh, yes, that's what it feels like.
And here you are. Oh, what a story. I'm just in awe of you. Here you are, though. It's the university year has just ended. You finished some finals.
Mm-hmm.
And so what year of study are you in?
I'm studying early childhood and family studies at UW.
And you're what year of this, is this? Are you a junior?
I'm a junior.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm a junior in college right now.
All right. So in the fall, you go back for your senior year.
Oh, actually, I've finished winter quarter, so I still have spring quarter to go.
Oh, okay. I'm rushing things, aren't I?
Yeah, no worries.
Okay.
It's confusing with semester systems and quarter systems.
So you'll be finishing then your junior year, getting ready in the fall for a senior year.
Exactly.
Right. And then because your goal comes from all this life experience you've had, right? To be a child life specialist.
Yeah, that is what I want to be. And I couldn't be more excited and happy about my future, knowing that hopefully I can be one day.
And how many more years of education is that?
Well, I'm going to finish up my bachelor's again at UW, so I'll be graduating next year. And then I would like to move on to a master's program, and they actually have quite a bunch of master's programs in specifically child life. One I'm specifically looking at is at Loma Linda University in Southern California. They just have a great curriculum, and so that is like my dream school at the moment, which I started applying to in the fall, which is crazy to think about. But if I get in if I get into another master's program, I'll start that the fall after my senior year. So that'd be 2023. And that is a 2-year program, and that includes an internship. And I believe that would be the end of my education unless I want to continue into a higher form of education.
Well, it seems
so that's the plan at the moment.
And it seems to me this plan should work, that you should get into your dream school because your life experience has given you so much qualification to really be a child life specialist yourself.
Yes, I hope so.
Oh, well, I so appreciate. I am just overwhelmed with all that you have lived through. And, early on I was mentioning the picture I saw of you on Facebook and, just filled with energy and bouncing with life. And your voice transmits that today, I believe.
I try to be. That's kind of always been my motto, be positive. Originally because my blood type was B positive, so it kind of stuck with me. But yeah, that's what I try to be. I try to be as positive as can be. I really think positivity and happy thoughts, it doesn't cure cancer for sure, but I think it helps dramatically with health, and I couldn't be here today without it.
I also know that you work with Cancer Pathways, which is an important and phenomenal organization. You're a program assistant there.
I am the program assistant as of a month ago. I'm very excited. I found out about Cancer Pathways actually as when I was in my original treatment at Marybridge. I participated in their annual Surviving with Style fashion show in 2015. And for those of you who do not know what that is, cancer survivors are asked to join in this fashion show, and you get to pick out a fancy dress, and you get your hair done, makeup done, and you just feel beautiful. And there's also men, so they don't get their makeup done, of course, unless they want to. But, they'll get in a nice suit and tie, and we get to just feel beautiful for that night after having, personally, I had many feelings of being the cancer kid or people thinking of me as, different and not outcasting me for it, but I just felt like I was treated differently because of the cancer. And it's really because there's not enough education about it. But yeah, so I participated in that fashion show, and it's probably the first time since I was diagnosed in 2014 that I had felt, absolutely beautiful and comfortable in my own body, because medication can just do so much damage and so many changes to your body that you're not used to, especially as a 13, 14-year-old. And I actually got to the fashion show again. I got asked back in 2018, and I once again got to dress up, and I got to feel beautiful and feel, proud of my diagnosis, proud of being a survivor, and just proud of all my experiences instead of hiding them away. And I've become very outspoken about cancer advocacy and my own story just to help educate others and make it an easier topic for people to talk about.
That, I'd say, hands down, you are extremely proficient at. The way you've articulated this journey at your young age, because 21 is a number that is a young number. But if we had to put a number on how you've wrapped yourself around this, I would say maybe 60-ish. I don't know if that's a good number for wisdom, but we'll say that.
No, I totally think that's true. I mean, I did have a cancer that's mostly found in 60-year-olds, so it's only fitting, right?
That's right, exactly. And the advocacy is so important. Hands down, it is a terrible disease, and we do want to see a world cancer-free.
Yeah.
But to do that, we need people, all the medical staff and all of those that are doing the research and all of those who are supporting the research, which is why another part of Cancer Pathways that is so great, because there's so much funding that supports people to go through the journey, but also dedicated to research, right?
Yeah, and that's the reason why I wanted to join Cancer Pathways after I came across a job listing, because they have a program called Cancer Happens, which is what I'm the program assistant mainly of. They bring this curriculum to middle schoolers and high schoolers all around the United States, and they teach them about cancer prevention, by not vaping, by getting the HPV vaccine, which is super important. And they also just kind of bring up the topic of cancer to these middle schooler and high schoolers, which I wish, my junior high had, because cancer can be such a scary word. And it is. It's definitely scary. But because of that, people don't like to talk about it. And that's where I felt always outcasted and left out in junior high. And I think this program is so great because they're finally bringing it into schools and making it a easier topic and kind of, taking away the myths of cancer and bringing in some of the ways one can prevent it, and to support and help other people who are going through it, as well as family members who may be going through it. So yeah, I'm super excited to be working for this program, because I just love it so much. I think it's super great.
Well, I appreciate that you are doing that, because you certainly are someone who could bring the authenticity to it, and really you're so relatable, and going into high schools, your age is not that far off from those young people there. So you're in the perfect place at the perfect time.
I think so.
Yeah.
I definitely think so.
Actually, let's mention the Cancer Pathways website for people to get more information about that.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find us at cancerpathways.org. You can even find the Cancer Happens program there. And if you're a teacher, or if you know of a student that would want to bring in the Cancer Happens program to their school, there is a way to send us an email, and we could probably bring it to your school one day, because we're doing it virtually a lot too right now, which has made it much more convenient and having the ability to go to classrooms. But there's lots of stuff on our page about our, Camp Sparkle, which is the summer camp for patients and siblings, and the Cancer Unwrapped writing contest, which has closed for the year, but if you want to do it, it will be open again for next year. But yeah, there's just a bunch of stuff on there, and you can even look at our team and, kind of see a picture of everyone, meet everyone in that kind of way. But yeah.
Great. Well, this has just really been such a gift, Hanna. I just appreciate your openness and your willingness to talk about it. It all spins into your desire to be an advocate, to educate. So, Hanna Safley, I'm just in awe of you. Thank you so much for your time and for sharing your incredible story with us.
Absolutely. I'm so happy I could and can tell my story. Even though I would never want cancer again, I don't regret a single thing, and I would go through it all again to be who I am today, because I love me and I love what I've become and just who I am on the inside. So yeah, I'm happy to come on and tell my story wherever I can.
Thank you, because it is such an incredible, important, and inspiring story.